Today, we are getting into something pretty fascinating and, honestly, very counterintuitive.
We are.
We're looking at a set of source materials that really challenge the conventional definition of female ambition. We're talking about the inner world, the hidden desires of the woman who helps shape a king, what the sources call over and over again, the high-value woman.
And this is a deep dive into motivation, the psychology of it all. It's about the long game of influence, not just material comfort.
Right.
Our mission here really is to pull out the core insights, to understand why these women operate so differently than you might expect, what is actually motivating them. And look, to really get the scope of their ambition, you have to stick with us for this whole conversation. The answer isn't on the surface.
Not at all.
We have to dig into the hidden psychological path, not just what you can see financially.
That is the perfect setup, because let's just start with the claim that is guaranteed to make people pause. The first, most surprising, and really the foundational claim from our source material is this: high-value women do not want your money.
And that is the ultimate counterintuitive statement, right? Especially in a culture that so often equates high value with, high net worth.
Of course.
But the sources are clear. For this specific type of woman, money is just a baseline. It's not the goal. What they actually want is something far more abstract and infinitely more powerful. They want legacy. They're investing their time, their energy in a much longer game, a game with historical impact, not just personal financial comfort.
Okay, so let's unpack that rejection of money. If that's not the motivation, what is the role they're so actively rejecting? The source material is very specific about this trap of conventional wealth. It says a woman of true intellect and class just completely rejects the idea of becoming essentially a financial dependent.
Precisely. She sees that role as, completely degrading. The sources argue that accepting a purely financial setup reduces her to, and this is a quote, a pet or an ornament. It just strips away her power, her agency. She goes from being a co-creator to just a unit of consumption.
That makes perfect sense.
Ah.
The cost of comfort is her own power. And this is where the source material uses some pretty sharp language.
It does.
They say this purely monetary ambition, this desire for luxury and comfort on its own, belongs to what they bluntly call second-rate beauties.
It's strong language for sure, and we have to be clear, that's the source's framework.
Right, it's their term.
But the reason they use that kind of harsh phrasing is to draw a line in the sand, to distinguish between two totally different kinds of aspiration. The insight here is this: the high-value woman, the HVW, she understands that playing the role of the beautiful ornament while comfortable means sacrificing her own influence, her agency. She sees that path as a trade-off where she gives up her ability to shape things for mere security.
So she's actively avoiding being the trophy wife because a trophy is finished. It's static, just something to be admired.
Exactly. She wants a dynamic role. Her goal isn't to benefit from a structure that's already there. Her ambition is to build the structure itself with the partner. She's not looking to consume wealth. She wants to generate influence.
Okay, so we've established what they're pushing away. Let's talk about what they're pulled towards. What is the true desire? This is the first key nugget you really need to grasp. The core desire of this woman is equity of influence.
That is such a powerful phrase, isn't it? It completely reframes the relationship dynamic the sources describe.
It really does.
It means she is not looking for a handout, not even, traditional equality in terms of money. She's seeking an ownership stake, a real verifiable influence in the creation of greatness.
So if she wants equity, she needs something to invest in, which is why the sources stress she does not want a finished product.
Absolutely. No interest.
She doesn't want to marry the king who's already been crowned.
Right, because the man who's already made it, who's already defined, he doesn't offer her that equity opportunity. She is looking for a man with massive potential. This is so critical. Her ambition isn't just to stand next to greatness.
It's to create it.
Yes, it's to be the decisive factor that turns that raw potential into a fully realized king. That's where her equity is. She's investing everything, her mind, her strategy, her energy.
But how does she know? I mean, how does she tell the difference between a guy who's just ambitious, who might fail, and one who has genuine world-changing potential?
The sources imply she's a kind of visionary judge of character. She doesn't just see the ambition, she sees the scale of it. And she sees if it matches her own huge reserves of energy. If that potential is there, the risk is worth it because the reward isn't financial. It's the proof of her own power.
And this is where the historical examples they use really ground the concept, right? We're talking about huge transformational partnerships, like Josephine and Napoleon.
A textbook example. Josephine wasn't just a supportive wife. She was a political and social force. In Napoleon's early days, his rapid rise, she was absolutely fundamental. She navigated the treacherous social world of post-revolution France. She gave him strategic advice.
She helped build the brand.
She helped build the entire image of the rising general. That was her equity. She had an active, decisive hand in making him who he became.
Or Clara and Robert Schumann. She wasn't just a spouse. She was a foundational musician herself.
A brilliant one.
She didn't just influence his music. She was the one who brought it to the world. She was his advocate, his interpreter.
His editor, even. Her influence literally shaped his entire legacy.
So when you put those examples together, you realize this isn't passive support. It's not just cheering from the sidelines.
Not at all. It's an active stake in building something colossal. And it proves her own ability to create historical impact. It is the ultimate validation of her own power.
And this is where things get really, really interesting. We have to dive into the psychology of this queenmaker because it's a paradox. If they're so powerful, so influential, why does the world often see them as, quote, cold and arrogant?
That exterior, according to the sources, it's not really about malice. It's a necessary defense mechanism, and it's born from a much deeper internal state. The sources say that inside, these women suffer from a profound solitude.
Solitude. That feels completely backwards for someone defined by so much energy and influence. Why would a person like that feel so alone?
It connects right back to her very specific ambition, her standards. She's searching for a vision that matches her own scale, and she can't find it. She cannot find a real man. In the sense, the source means a man with truly seismic potential who can handle and harness and respect her immense energy. She's alone because she's waiting for a man worth dedicating their life to building.
So the arrogance people see is really just the visible frustration of all this unspent creative and strategic energy.
Exactly. That, coupled with the high standard that just stops her from settling for an easier project or a finished product. Her solitude is a symptom of her huge demand for impact. She's lonely because she hasn't found a canvas big enough for the masterpiece she knows she can co-create.
And that brings us to the ultimate goal, the non-monetary driver for this whole difficult path. They don't want cash. They don't want fleeting fame. The sources say they want to carve their name into history.
Not just through their own actions. That's the legacy part in action. It's the ultimate psychological reward. The proof she's looking for is simple and it's absolute. It's the thing that validates her entire life's investment. It's the acknowledgement. He became great because of ME.
Wow.
That assertion, that historical acknowledgement of her transformative role, that is the ultimate power. And crucially, it's the ultimate love she craves.
So the critical difference is she doesn't want to just enjoy someone else's success. She wants the undeniable historical proof of her own impact on that success.
Power through co-creation, not consumption. It's about being the essential engine hidden under the hood.
All right, let's shift gears to the practical side of this. If this whole definition is true, this queen maker who wants legacy and equity, how does a man attract her? Let's unpack this for the listener, because the source material just throws the traditional strategy right out the window.
It does very directly. It says, stop flashing your wallet. Stop talking about your current assets. That strategy might work for attracting someone looking for comfort, but that attracts the exact partner the HVW herself would call second rate.
Because you're presenting yourself as a finished product.
And she's looking for massive potential.
So what's the alternative? If it's not material security, what is the currency of attraction? What does that canvas need to look like?
You have to show her a vision big enough for her to build an empire with you. It's a completely different kind of conversation. It's not about your bank account. It's about the scale of your future project.
So you have to show profound conviction.
Profound conviction and a goal so colossal, founding a revolutionary company, changing the political landscape, whatever it is, that it actually warrants her immense investment of energy.
That's what it takes to break through that profound solitude, isn't it?
Yes.
She needs to see that you have a destiny that is worthy of all her unspent power. It's like an intellectual recruitment.
Precisely. You have to prove you have a destiny that requires her input, her energy, her influence to reach its absolute peak. The attraction isn't stability. It's the opportunity for co-creation, for shared colossal ambition.
You're not looking for a dependent. You're recruiting a co-founder for a legacy.
And that implies the man has to have two things besides money, that verifiable potential and the humility to know he needs her strategic mind to win.
Right. If he thinks he can do it all alone, she sees no equity opportunity.
That's the crucial nuance. He has to show her that his success is actually contingent on her input, that his current path, no matter how good, is incomplete without her genius. That is the invitation to equity.
This has been a really fascinating dive into motivation. It just cuts straight through the usual definitions of ambition. So just to recap the main findings, the high-value woman rejects the role of the parasite or the ornament. She wants legacy, influence, and proof of her own transformative power. She wants equity of influence.
And if you connect this to the bigger picture, the source material defines high value for both of them, not by money, but by the ability to generate profound influence, historical impact. Their shared goal is to be remembered as the people who built something legendary together.
With her influence being the acknowledged decisive factor, it's a powerful way to look at history.
It is, and this raises an important question for you, the listener, to think about. If a man's biggest attraction tool is a shared vision big enough to build an empire, how does a man accurately measure the size or the potential of his own vision through her eyes? It really forces us to think about what personal potential and a truly massive vision even mean, outside of just monetary terms. How do you pitch a destiny?
Something to think about as you build your own potential and chart your own course. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. Keep exploring these complex ideas. It's the only way to really understand what drives the most ambitious people out there.